Hey fellas, Rusty coming at you, and today we're going to take a look at a pretty special knife. I say that a lot, I think. Hey, what do you got there, Rusty? Well, this is, let's go with a Cripple Creek in Old Fort, Tennessee, USA. And it's the second edition of the knife world. This one is one of 500, and it was done in 1987. I would call this a cigar or equal end moose. And this was done, if you guys are following my channel, maybe you know, what do we got here? Bob Cargill. So this is a Bob Cargill knife. And Bob was a repairman for Case. So he worked for Case in the 70s and early 80s, and he went out on his own, and I guess I'll say he was the lead repair guy. He got his reputation, and he did all kinds of work there. I mean, he would have, reinstalled covers, removed and put on covers and blade centeries and put knives together. He got good at it. He went out in 1981 and started his own company, and he called it Cripple Creek. And he called it Cripple Creek because he had lost his leg below the knee in a car accident. And therefore, that's the name of his knife company. 1981, his first edition knife, he said he was going to do all the work on all of them. So he wants credit for building all of them, trying to get good images here. And then by the time of 1987, I'm sure he would have had employees. And then he said that he touched every knife that came out of there. What I'm trying to do right now is show an amazing blade grind. What we have is I would call a saber grind. So the blade is ground up to here. It's a primary grind. Saber means it kind of comes up halfway versus a full. So it's a saber grind. But I'm trying to see out here, he has a transition, almost like a compound grind. I'm trying to see if you can see, if you're running your finger here, you can feel a change, and he starts. I got a lot of Tucson Tontos that will kind of do the same thing. This beautiful kind of a swedging, really pretty work. This one's number 345, again out of 500. And yes sir, that's smooth. Little bit of spacing there, I'll let you guys decide, but across the top, very, very smooth. Let's see if we can see that. Okay. All right, that blade has decent walk and talk. We have a bar shield. We got a really dark brown bone. And I'm out here and it's not sunny today, which is good because when I go like this, we can actually see without the glare. And this is good, but not exceptional. Just good. And the bone, mine, you get just the slightest variation. You can see some of the brown. Now keep in mind, 1987, today's 2025. This is 28 years old, 30. Oh, 87, 97, 07, 17 is 30, almost 40 years old. All right, we have the match strike. You can kind of see how he's done that. And this blade does not have a very strong spring. We do have a little top swedge on here. It's a spear point. We have the Cripple Creek tank stamp from 1987, but he still put in a sharpening choil. And these are, what would you call it, mirror polished. They're just not like queen mirror polished. All right, how are we? Oh, slight stepping here. No kickback. See that? I like my knife to kick back. And this one, once it breaks, it breaks. And then it's got a weak, what do we call that? Snap. So, all right, Rusty, what have we got to compare this to? Well, I'm glad you asked. So I got a knife that's from about the same era. What do we got here? And I believe this is made by Queen. And this is a Case Classic. And this is the 62046J pattern. Better get that for you. 62046J, coming to us from 1991. So just 4 years later. And it's kind of got a, well, one thing, this is a swell center, a humpback kind of a deal. We got pinched and lined bolsters. And in a way, it's a little bit reversed. We got a clip point and a clip point, but the badge is on the other side. So this is the front side of the knife, and the blades are kind of flipped around just a bit. But they're about the same. Let's go ahead and much stronger snaps on that one. Okay, this one's bigger. So we can just determine how, I think the Case knife here has a better shield and better jigging. These will run you about the mid hundreds right now, 150, 160, on up to, well, I've seen one go for 70, look kind of rough, and I've seen them up in the 170s. All right. Okay, you can hear that walk and talk. You can see the blade swedging on here. I can tell you, excellent. No stepping there. And then when it comes to, and that's my puppy. When it comes to blade finish, this one's slightly better. Ooh, that's a strong spring. Very strong. Better get I always bite my finger right there. Okay. And, well, we should be comparing these, Rusty. Compare the blades. Okay. So, cutting edge to cutting edge. Nail neck, tank stamp to tank stamp. And how are we looking? So I give this one the win. It's smaller and has a pretty, what do you want to call it? Well, boy, that's competitive cutting edge for the size of the knife. We got a smaller knife with about the same cutting edge. So, okay, now a little thing here. Cutting edge to cutting edge. Yep, that one's bigger. Not a fan of stuff on the blade, but that's actually not horrible bad. And just there you go. You can see that grind right there. Well, that kind of, oh, I like that. But this one, oh, I don't know, guys. I don't know. I paid right at $100 for this one. And I'm satisfied with that because this is a knife from history. This is Cripple Creek, which ended up being bought. Bob, who is this? Cargill, the owner of Cripple Creek at the time, the founder, sold this to his company to Bill Howard, who was at Queen and probably was involved in the project of making these knives later on went to open Great Eastern Cutlery, and in 2006 when Great Eastern Cutlery opened, we started seeing GEC do some Cripple Creek knives. So that's part of the importance, if you will, of these knives. This was a James Parker, who was the owner of Case in the 80s to the 90s from Parker Knives. Contracted, he made these Case classics. So be sure to look for the video out on, well, coming out if it's not out on that. And thanks for joining me. Adios.